and I'm with the Ventura County's Long-Term Disaster Recovery Group, and we're doing a couple videos that are looking at tips for rebuilding after a fire. This one is focusing on home builder contracts and tips for getting to the agreement. So I've got the two Rebuild Navigators, Joe and Greg, that have worked with us over the last 3+ years, and those who were impacted by the fires here in Ventura County, and their role, they are both licensed contractors with more than 40 years of experience, that they have been kind of third-party objective advisors and guidance for all those who have been rebuilding, or they've been available to those who are rebuilding. So we primarily have been working with those who are underinsured or uninsured. So that's a lot of what we're talking about, and also just want to note that all of the specifics when we're talking about regulations or any costs are particular to Ventura County in Southern California. So it may be different where you are, but the same general principles should apply. So people have done their homework and gotten multiple bids from different contractors, and they think they've found someone that they want to work with. What advice do you guys have on that process of getting to a contract?
I mean, most contractors are specialty contractors, not necessarily home builders. You know, after the disaster, anybody with a contractor's license comes forward and says, "I can build your house," you know, and it's not necessarily true. They may not be skilled. They may be skilled in one part of building your house, but not in orchestrating the whole package. And part of that's you know, because there's not enough home builders in any given area. You know, when an area gets devastated by a disaster, there's not enough home builders, period. So you need to really take your time and understand who you're hiring first and foremost, and you know, get the, you know, check their references. Can you give me 3 or 4 references? I'd like to see the last 3 homes that you've built. You know, give me some references. References are really important when you're picking out who you're going to hire to go through this 1-year process and build your home for you. You know, it's a relationship, and you know, you have to really think about who you're hiring and how you're going to do that.
And you're probably not going to find the home builder in one of those little, you know, home improvement flyers you get every week in the
mail.
Most of them don't advertise because they're so good. They get hired word of mouth.
Most good builders don't advertise.
They don't, you know, they don't need to. So it's a challenge to find the right person. But I encourage you to take your time, do your research, ask for references, check the references.
And you know, people think, well, I better hire a guy this week because they're all going to be gone. That isn't the case.
Never.
You know, a good builder can build plenty of homes at the same time.
Yes.
So, you know, you don't have to rush in to just find the one guy, you know.
That was kind of a fear we saw with a
A lot of people got
when
in.
the fire first hit. It's like, oh, I got to hire somebody because there won't be any good builders left, you know, and that was not the case, we found.
No.
True. So let's talk about contract options, because we have definitely seen some incidents where people are coming to us after a year or 2 years, and when you guys look at the contract, there are some problems, and we've talked about trying to advise people on the front end. So what, do you want to just give us an overview?
Yeah, well, one of the things you got to know about building a home, we've mentioned this in an earlier presentation, that your house is a one-of-a-kind thing. It's not like your car. So you take your car to get it fixed. The insurance company just pays for it, because all these auto repair places get paid the same amount of money from the insurance company to fix a fender or a seat belt or whatever. Houses are not like that. It's far more complicated. It's one of a kind. It's unique.
And actually, by law, the Contractor State License Board, you can't just hire somebody to build your house. There has to be a contract.
Right. Well,
There should be a contract there.
Yeah. What we've seen is the insurance companies have stepped in and said, okay, go hire yourself a builder, and we'll pay for the cost out of your proceeds from your insurance. Well, so people just hire a builder, and the builder says, I'll take whatever the insurance company gives me, and I'll take that and I'll rebuild your house. That is always a it just doesn't work that way, because the insurance companies are always well, we've talked about a lot about insurance, but that it just isn't a way to go. That's just don't jump into a deal with a contractor based on your insurance coverage unless you are absolutely 100% sure that your insurance will cover every cost related to your rebuild. But then if you do go into an agreement with a contractor, there's 3 or 4 different types of agreements, and that's what I think where we're headed here.
Yeah.
One is a fixed price. The contractor says, for this amount of money, I'll build that house. It happens once in a while. Another one is, and I'll come back and kind of embellish this a little bit. Another one is a cost plus agreement, where the contractor gets reimbursed for all his costs for building the house plus a fee. Sometimes it's a percentage. It might be 15% of the cost of the house, and sometimes it's just a lump sum. But the owner still pays all the costs, and then the contractor just gets a fee for an addition to the cost.
But those are a little challenging because it's to the contractor's advantage to build more. The higher the cost, the more he's going to make.
More percentage. So there's got to be an incentive clause in an agreement like that to keep costs under a certain level or a budget or something like that.
Exceed.
So you can build in an incentive clause.
You can, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's another type of contract rarely used in home construction, but a lot of times for home improvements is time and materials, where it's like you go take your car to get it fixed. They'll charge you a labor rate plus the cost of the materials, and that's rarely used. Greg and I are kind of partial, and we've mentioned this earlier, to construction management, where you have a builder manage your construction for you, go out and get best values he can from subcontractors and so forth. You as all
the contracts can review them and
right. As the owner, you still have control of the costs because you hire the subcontractors that you want, all those specialty contractors, and the manager helps you through that process. I do a lot of that, or I have done a lot of that in the past. I'm kind of retiring out of it now, of course, but I've done a lot of that. And then
And that's the type where there can be incentives built in so that if they save you money.
Yes, they can. But one thing I want to make really clear, a set of plans do not really, I've never seen a set of plans that really completely describe how a house is going to be built. The plans really, if you're a contractor and you're going to do a fixed price on a contract, you can only do that up through about drywall, because a contractor can get his framers, say foundation, framing, roofing, stucco, or plaster, or whatever, windows, doors, the whole outside shell of the house, get it insulated, get some of the mechanical, electrical in, and get it drywalled. And now you're at that point of finishing the house. In other words, I know this is complicated, but doors and interior finishes, cabinets, and all those finishes. You can get a fixed price from a contractor pretty well and pretty accurately for everything up to the finishes. But after that, the plans don't describe your finishes really. And they might have sometimes they'll have a little 2 or 3 sheets of specifications, but that's only because code requires it, and usually it's just something the architect throws on there that he's used 1,000 times before. Mm-hmm. But
they call that boilerplate.
But anyway, fixed price contracts are difficult for builders, and that's why we call them negotiated contracts. Some other hybrid type of contract is most useful. Greg probably can enlighten what types of contracts we found are really helpful.
Contract considerations?
Yes, contract. What are some contract considerations, Greg?
A contract is something that has to get written that says, I'm going to do this for this amount of money, and here's all the parts of the contract. And the contract should tell you what happens if you decide to split the sheets. In the contract, it should have that in there, right? If
Yeah.
you're not happy with your contractor, how do you get out of this contract? If it's not in there, it's anybody's guess. So a good contract will tell you what you're doing, where you're doing it, how much it costs, who's doing what, how long it takes, and what happens if one of us want to get out of this contract and do something else. And and is it done by going to court, or is it done in arbitration? There's a bunch of different elements just in one contract. And whoever writes the contract, like if you're my contractor, hey, why don't you write the contract? Okay, I write it up. Okay, everything's going to be to my advantage, not to yours. If the homeowner writes a contract, then it'd probably be to their advantage. So whoever writes the contract, it's written in such a way that it's usually favors one or the other. We've found that a real neutral contract is a AIA contract.
AIA stand for?
The Architectural Institute of America.
American Institute of Architects.
Oh, American Institute of Architects.
Those 3 words.
I believe
The AIA, American Institute of Architects, they have
Okay.
standard contracts for different types of contracts that have been very proven. They're very neutral. They're very fair to both parties, and they explain what happens in any circumstance.
They're great agreements. They really are.
They really are.
And the reason they're so good, I think, is that the architect, and you can appoint someone to be the architect if you don't have a real architect, but they're kind of the judge, jury, and hangman in terms of deciding whether the work is on time or it's done well and properly and so forth. And so you've got this somewhat of a neutral party making those kinds of decisions. I've never had to have an architect come out and work between me and a homeowner, but those are very fair agreements, and that's what you want. You want one, and then one that's been a contract that's been tested and litigated, over and over and over, so that it's all the problems have been solved. They're fantastic. They have the general conditions are like that thick.
Now,
they're really great.
Yeah, they're really good.
I mean, you don't use them, but like if you said, okay, my contractor won't clean the place up. It's a disaster. It's unsafe. There's actually a section in the general conditions that says what happens if the contractor doesn't keep the place safe and clean, and you give him a certain day's notice, and then you get to have him, you do it, and you get to charge him for you having to do it. And so it's just very fair kind of things. Yeah. Great agreements.
One thing to really be concerned with is, a lot of guys will do a proposal.
Yeah.
I'm going to build your house for $10,000. Here, just sign right here.
Yeah.
That's not a contract.
That's not a contract, number one, and it has minimum requirements. There's, a very vague contract is not a good contract at all, I guess is my point.
Well said.
One other topic that comes up sometimes is around liens. So what should people know about liens?
Well, they should know that if someone supplies materials to your property, say for example, Home Depot delivers a pile of lumber to your house for a contractor, they're going to send you what's called a preliminary notice. And all it says is that if your contractor doesn't pay them for the materials, you're going to have to pay for it, even if you paid the contractor for the same things. The reason these laws are universal throughout all of the United States, and actually the first time it happened was right after the War of 1812, when I think, if I got that right, the year, but anyway, when they burned down Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. All right. They paid all these people, and they all went to their different states, and then the people who really supplied the materials didn't get paid. So we established lien laws. So when you are, as an owner, you get a certificate from someone, and it says, I delivered materials to your home on behalf of ABC Plumbing, say, for example.
And it usually comes certified mail.
It comes certified mail. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because now you know that you need to get a release from that contractor, from that supplier, before you pay that contractor in full. So the more of those preliminary notices you get, the better. Mm-hmm. And I would recommend that you get releases from all the major suppliers of materials to your home, from all your contractors, as a routine part of making payments to them, if you're an owner builder, for example. As a general contractor, we do that routinely, But as an owner builder, and who many of the people that are listening to this video are owner builders, preliminary notices are good things when you get them in your mailbox and it's certified. They're very good because it'll keep you from having a big problem down the road.
And then before you pay your contractor, there's lien releases that are progress, and then there's one more at the end that's a final lien release.
Yeah, those are complicated, but
every time you pay them, they should give you a lien release for everything that you've paid them, and all the materials that showed up to that point has a date on it, and then the next payment does the same, and then at the very end of the job, there's one that is the golden one that you really want to have, and that's the final lien release from your subcontractor, and your contractor and all the subcontractors and material suppliers.
The lien thing can be complicated. It's not that complicated. It's probably easier than than we probably are making it sound. But it's a good system for protecting you as a homeowner.
And just something to be aware of if you weren't before that. All right, thanks. Thanks for watching, and we've got other videos in this series, Rebuilding After a Wildfire, so you can check out the website, and we will see you soon. Thanks.